Ramreddy garu. Done.
We are live now.
Charan.
Firstly, best wishes on Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Jayanti, which is celebrated as Parakram Divas. On this special day, the special evening, let me start by quoting his famous lines. The best gift for a freedom fighter is a promise that we will always take care of the nation and love it with our heart. Very good evening, good morning, and namaste, dear Sahins. A warm welcome to today's session and the most important topic, nationalism and nation first. Let's be a true citizen. And firstly, I would like to welcome my dear Utsahins, our today's guest who joined us today to inspire us with a talk. I'm honored to welcome Dr. Nb Sudarshan Acharya,
Garu.
founder, chairman of Lead India Foundation. I'm glad and happy to welcome our second speaker of the day, Lieutenant Colonel KVN Parameshwarjee, who was a Kargil war participant who has been in the Indian Army for 13 plus years. Thank you both of you for taking time for Utsahin despite your busy schedules. Thanks again. I would also like to welcome our inspiration, the founder of Utsahin, Ramreddy garu, and the team of Utsahin were always there to make Utsahin an amazing place to collaborate, connect, and learn. Thank you so much. And over to Master of the Ceremony for today's session, Anirbhaji, for taking care of the further proceedings of the meeting. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Charan, and hearty good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you who have joined us on this day. We're proud to celebrate the National Republic Day, and on a very special day of the year, which is the Parakram Divas, designated as the Day of Valor, commemorating the birthday of Shri Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, also known as the Subhash Chandra Bose Jayanti. This was supposed to be celebrated as the National Heroes Day, also known as the Desh Nayak Divas or the Desh Prem Divas, the Day of Patriotism. However, the government decided to call this the Parakram Divas or the Day of Valor. And it really is a very special day for all of us because he independently, as we all know, went ahead and started the Indian National Army, an army of entirely soldiers and people who fought for Indian freedom, but were formed outside of India. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was also popularly known for his both very revolutionary and extremist ideas and his pivotal role in the Indian national movement by setting up the Azad Hind Army and the Azad Hind government, an independent government that revolted against the British government. So it is really a privilege for us to celebrate our Republic Day celebrations on his birthday. Today's spirit is that of nationalism and nation first attitude. It's very timely because we need to ensure today that we all deliver true nationalism to the spirit of Swami Vivekananda's message. He said that every nation has a destiny to fulfill, a message to deliver, and a mission to accomplish. And therefore, every one of us must understand this mission in the context of our own race. We must ensure that we fulfill its destiny. We have and arrive the place that we have to occupy in the face of other nations and the role that it has to play to contribute to the harmony of all races. That was the large universal brotherhood vision that Swami Vivekananda had for Indian nationalism. And it has played a critical role and a crucial role in describing how India is perceived all around the world today. We are a nation that believes in humanism and universal brotherhood. And at the same time, we have deep concern for all our masses. We believe in freedom and equality. And with those, the feeling of nationalism and nation first is of utmost importance for every one of us to imbibe. Can we be a true citizen in every respect by putting patriotism in every task that we do? Whether it is conserving the nation's resources, simple resources like electricity and water, whether it is serving the government and ensuring that we offer our services to social welfare, whether it's doing our little part right and ensuring that we live a sustainable and at the same time a patriotic life. That is the spirit of the talk today, to inspire. And we have wonderful personalities like Sri Acharya ji and Lieutenant Colonel Parameshwarjee, who will motivate us, share their own personal real life stories. That being said, let's begin today's event with a prayer song. Over to Sri Raghuji for the prayer song in Sanskrit. Raghuji, you'll have to unmute yourself, please.
Sangachatvam samvadatvam samvo manamsi janata deva bhagam yadha purve deva bhagam yadha purve sanjanana upasate samano mantra samiti samani samanam manah sahachittamesham samani akutihi samana hridayani vah samanamastu om mano yadhavah susahasati. Sangachatvam.
Sangachatvam. Next, we have our very eminent speaker of the day, distinguished Professor Dr. Nb Sudarshan Acharya, who's had a PhD in human values and is also a management graduate and a Bachelor of Law. He is the founder and executive chairman of Lead India 2020 Foundation, a major foundation making strides in national well-being. He is the founder and chairman also of the Lead India Bharat Ratna chain of schools. May I kindly request others to mute yourselves? Thank you. He has been instrumental in several initiatives to transform the nation through students and student-related activities. He's identified gaps in the education system and compiled a training program titled as Aap Badho, Desh Ko Badhao. In fact, there's a series of T-shirts as well that they propagate and proliferate to spread this message. Professor Acharya is a great visionary of the recent times. He's been given several awards and commemorated with several texts that he has titled. So he's the author of, for example, Jatiki Kalamu Pilupu, which is a Telugu text titled Kalam's Call to the Nation. He's also written a note on the Kargil War, an inspiring chapter in Indian history. He's written a biography of Sri G. Pulla Reddy called The Secrets of Success and Be a Leader, which speaks about the initiative on Aap Badho, Desh Ko Badhao. Apart from this, he has been awarded the Vidya Martanda Award in 2002, the Eminent Citizen Award in 2003, the Distinguished Service Award for Social Transformation in 2009, Service Award Award in 2009 again, Dr. Radhakrishna Gold Medal in 2013, and the Nation Builders Award in 2014, among many others. It's really a privilege for us to have you, sir, amidst us today and to hear on the topic of nationalism and nation first. Over to you, sir. Acharya ji.
Thank you, Anirban Paulji, and I thank Utsahin founder and all the supporting members and participating members. You are all doing a great service. Before I start, let me also join saluting today's hero, national hero, Subhash Chandra Bose ji, celebrating Parakram Divas. You are doing a great work in educating young minds, preparing them with the tasks. Every quote that you have written, the tagline, name, the flyer, the logo, everything speaks really a professional approach in man-making and nation building. Really, I congratulate. I wish you all the best. Utsahin will be a great organization in future. And that is where God has also connected me and the Lead India Foundation organization. We have got common goals of man-making and nation building. So I also salute Lieutenant Colonel KVN Parameshwarjee, who spent 22 years in Army and today is our co-speaker. On behalf of Youth of India, we salute you and welcome you, sir. And along with this now, today, my dear friends, the Utsahin, whatever humble efforts it is doing, by arranging this talk on nationalism, nation first, the same was a journey of mine and the Lead India Foundation way back in 40 years back. And today, if you see the T-shirts, as Paulji has mentioned, you will find India, I am Indian first. So that is where we pick up from Swami Vivekananda that I am proud to be an Indian. And at the age of 13 years, after studying his autobiography, I found a line that if I get 100 people like me, I can change this India and the world. So that is how I promised myself that why I should not become one amongst that 100 people, what Swamiji wanted. That is how the journey of mine started into this man-making and nation building, resulted into Aap Badho Desh Ko Badhao, which our people's president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam ji, called this as a second national movement. Now, so far, about 18 lakhs students have been transformed. Now, coming back to the tasks of today's topic, nationalism and nation first, my dear friends. We have got, we are all celebrating 75th Azadi Ka Amrutotsav. So we have got independence in 1947. Similarly, we also know that Japan, a co-Asian country, a small country of maybe of our state size, but today they have got freedom from the Second World War, 1945. Just there are only 2 years difference. They got freedom, say, in 1945. We got in 1947. Only 2 years, right? So where are they? They are competing with the superpowers like America and others. They are 8th in rank in giving loans to the other countries. Where are we? We are roaming around the various countries for loans and other things. Why so much difference? I will illustrate through a story where a Japan monk came to India. He toured all over India and gone back. So people asked him, how is India? Then that surprisingly, that monk told, I have not seen any Indian there. What is this surprise? He explained, when I have gone to Maharashtra, they said, I am a master Maharashtrian. When I went to South Kerala, they said, I am Keralite, I am Tamilian. When I went to North, somebody said, I am Punjabi, I am Haryana, Jat, and all sort of. So here is the gap. And again, if you see the cultural patriotism in Japan, why they developed so much, you ask any student, why are you studying? The student will say, for the development of my country. If you ask a teacher, they also will say, for the development of the country. If you go to an industry and ask an industrial worker, even the industrial worker also says, I am working for the development of my country. So that is what now Utsahin is trying to make, Lead India Foundation is trying to make, and the whole nation needs this, my dear friends. Before that, I would like to share the why the Lead India Foundation and what the Utsahin today's memberships can take. Since we are all celebrating 75th Azadi Ka Amrutotsav, in these 75 years of independent free India, where are we? 4 out of 10 are below poverty line. And Lead India has conducted a survey asking what is the purpose of education. 95% of graduates and postgraduates written that purpose of education is job. So this is because in 1835, Lord Macaulay changed the equation that if Indian culture and education are altered, if foreign language, English language is better than Indian native languages, if foreign culture is better than Indian culture, then we can rule this country. That is what he proposed in British Parliament, and it has been approved and that has been implemented. So not only during those periods, even unfortunately after independence also, just like the Insurance Act, Railway Act, Police Act, British Education Act has been in toto implemented as Indian Education Act. As a result today, what happened? 94% of the graduates and postgraduates are mentioning that purpose of education is job. So Lord Macaulay made a manipulation that to rule India, they wanted clerks. So for this job, this is the certificate. For this certificate, this is the syllabus. For this exam, these marks and ranks. Same thing is being continued now. So Utsahin has to understand, the whole nation has to understand that in 75 years of free India, this same Macaulay education equation is being continued. If it continues even for next 75 years also, the fate of India is not going to be changed. 4 out of 10 below poverty line, unemployment is growing, mass corruption, all the 30% of world's illiterates are Indians, my dear friends. So where are we going? That is where today, really, I love to appreciate our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Bhai Modi ji, who brought National Education Policy 2020, which is giving a great option for all Indians to change the education policy. Education policy is a concurrent subject. Every state can have its own. So that's why organizations like Utsahin conducting these sort of awareness programs it is not the Education Act cannot bring. It is the people, it is the institutions, it is the students, it is the teachers, it is the parents who have to understand, we have to change the equation. In the words of Swami Vivekananda, true education is formation of the character, controlling the mind, senses, expanding the intelligence, ultimately making one stand on one's own legs. That is the purpose of education. So can we change that? That's where now all of us and a suggestion to Utsahin and what Lead India Foundation also is doing, we have to take it as a national movement as called by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam ji to change two things. One is our culture, phenomenal. No comparison in the world, because the country, ancient country, Sanatana Dharma, the historians, scientists could not identify its age, such is its ancient age and culture, which concludes saying Sarva Loka Samasta Suguno Bhavantu Vasudaika Kutumbam. So these are all great things that we have to take them to today's students and youth who are now 65% of country's population. So it is not the governments or the God himself is bringing this India as a Vishwa Guru. That's why 65% of our population is below 25 years. Now, average age of India is 29 years, my dear friends. So meetings like this, we have to conduct more and more and more and see that our ancient Indian cultural education, cultural heritage is inculcated, registered, propagated, and practiced in the youth of India. That is one thing we all have to do, number one. Number two, education. So here we have got an opportunity where Pushpaka Vimanam. What is the concept of the Pushpaka Vimanam written in our Vedas? There will not be any pilot. It is not like the Boeing 100 or 200 aeroplanes. It can have any number of capacity. Just with the Sankalpa, it takes off and lands at a particular plane. That is not true. In Ramayana, Pushpaka Vimanam is there. So also, now students should be able to correlate aeronautical engineering as well as our ancient Pushpaka Vimanamu techniques written in the Vedas. So that is one sort of a correlation. All of us together we have to make for making men and building the country. And this situation God is going to give to us, a younger generation, up to 2050, my dear friends. So we have to go on making the dividends and making country as a Vishwaguru Bharat once again. Okay, here for doing like this, many lakhs of organizations like Lead India Foundation, Utsahin, lakhs of organizations are there. But we need a common platform. They are all going like a watertight compartment. Government is going on one side, corporations going on one side, NRIs, NGOs. We all have to combine. Lead India National Club is a combination bringing all together for the sake of making men and country together. Sanghatana Shakti. Okay, that is what is the need of the hour. Without taking much of your time, thank you very much. We all together need to work for man making and nation building. And I am available. My life has gone into this. And still I am available at your service as a friend, philosopher, and guide. Utsahin, I want you to be the best among the world, making Vishwaguru Bharat. Lead India, lead India, lead India. Along with good morning and good evening, now to bring back youth into this mainstream, say lead India, lead India, lead India. May God bless you. May God bless you. Lead India.
Lead India. Thank you. Thank you, Acharya ji, for your wise words of wisdom on how India and Japan, flat-footed after post-World War II at the time of independence, but how one country has shown in its economic progress, whereas we are yet to get there. And thank you for spreading that message that it is about our education policy, and its implementation today that will decide the future of the nation tomorrow. We take your message, sir, bringing the people, the youth especially, and the nation together on a common platform. Let us all work towards leading India to where we belong, and an education system that will build people of character. Thank you, sir. We now will have a second speaker of the day, Lieutenant Colonel Parameshwarjee. Lieutenant Colonel Parameshwarjee has been awarded the degree of B Electronics and MTech in IT and cybersecurity. He served in the Indian Army, including 6 years in the Kashmir Valley, 5.5 years in the Northeast, in Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. He's participated in the Kargil War, also known as Operation Vijay, and in the Operation Parakram. Having been twice physically wounded, his spirit has only been strengthened. Who a better person to speak to us about nationalism and nation first? Over to you, sir.
My voice is audible? Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll start first with a great note of thank you to Professor Acharya Garu for his impassionate plea for Lead India. Honored to have met you today, sir. Really honored to have met you. And I somehow align with what you believe in, that making India the world leader should be our aim, and that's where our topic comes in: nationalism first and nationalism always first. So that I would really start with the phrase which defines every army man, that is Jai Hind. As I say that, I implore upon each and every one of you to say the word within yourself, Jai Hind, and Jai Hind very loud. Your heart should pump when you say Jai Hind. Why I start with this word? Why I start with this word Jai Hind is because it is just not a phrase for us. It is not a saying for the army man. It is a way of life for the army man. It is what is ingrained in the DNA for the army man. Why do I say that? Because Professor Acharya brought it out. We got our independence in 1947, but from then on, do we really know what has gone into protecting that independence each and every day, each and every hour, each and every minute, and each and every second? The lives of the army men who laid their lives down in protecting these nations. 1.3 million soldiers protect the frontiers of the country of 1.3 billion people. 1.3 billion population who do not have to look at who is coming from the enemy side, because there is a soldier standing for every 1,000 or 10,000 of them and protecting their frontiers and protecting their lives so that they can sit at their home or do what they are doing towards contributing towards a nation building. So as an enlisted soldier of the Union of India, I implore upon the soldier citizens who have gathered here in this meeting to take this movement forward. And I very consciously have bestowed upon that degree of soldier citizens to all of you, because all of you believe that nation comes first and nation building comes first. And for that, you as teachers, trainers, businessmen, entrepreneurs, and leaders in various fields have taken it upon yourself to touch the lives of our young generation so that they go in the right direction and go and serve the country. Thank you for that. But then, as a soldier citizens, our job is never finished. Until our last breath, we keep on striving to improve, we keep on striving to contribute, and we keep on striving to make the nation a better nation than what we were born in. So I was actually thinking about what to talk of in these 10, 12 minutes, which were given to me after Mr. Ram Reddy spoke to me. He was kind enough to extend that invitation to me and find me worthy enough of talking to so many leaders, so many well-educated minds, and so many such intellectual minds. So I was actually debating within myself, and I was talking to my wife and my friends and all. And it would have been very easy for me to narrate 4 or 5 incidents and ramp up the temperature and leave. But I thought, on this day of 125th birth anniversary of Subhash Chandra Bose ji, and on the eve of our 75th Independence Day, which is close by, I thought I would talk about the core values of the Indian Army on which we build ourselves, so that we take these and replicate in our civil lives and ensure that once these are replicated, it is very easy for us upon to touch those young lives and drive them towards nation building. Yes, sorry. Yeah, surely. I'm reading the text. I'm reading the text as well. Those will come in, Mr. Anirban, as I go on. Those will come in. So the first core value of the Indian Army we talk of is nation first. When a soldier gets into his regimental center, or when an officer gets into his academy, his DNA undergoes a change. And there are 2 things which his DNA is ingrained into. One is the oath, the leadership oath, which every Indian officer takes, which is called as the Chetwood Credo. That is basically called as the safety, honor, welfare of the country comes first, always and every time. The honor, welfare, and comfort of the soldiers you command comes next, always and every time. And the ease, comfort, and honor of the men of your own self comes last, always. This is the credo which an Indian Army officer lives and dies by. That brings me to the oath. The oath is always that, as a soldier of the Union of India, I abide by each and every order passed by the President of India or any officer who's been appointed above me as my senior, even to the peril of my life. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, even to the peril of my life would mean that, I wouldn't mind laying down my life if I have to obey some orders in the protection of my country. That brings me to the first example of the day, Fidayeen attack, which happened in Jammu and Kashmir, where a few set of terrorists got into a domestic colony and started firing indiscriminately and started killing innocent women and children. That being said, any life which is lost is innocent in doing whatever duty, but then women and children were being killed and they settled into one of the houses. To cut the long story short, what happened was that, we tried all our weapons, all our specialist weapons, our tanks, our rocket launchers, everything to smoke them out, but then they failed because they were ingrained inside domestic colonies and we were afraid of collateral damage in terms of losing lives. So what we did was we called in our special forces teams. There was one led by a captain of 24 years old. They went in, they started clearing floor by floor, room by room. In the process, the captain had to lay his life down. There was a second team that was once again a young major of 28 years old. They started taking on the task once again. And once again, the major had to lay down his life. And then the third team came in. And as slowly as possible, they started smoking the people out and getting the hostages out. We could successfully kill the terrorists and get them out. In the process, we lost 2 brave Indian Army officers and a Jawan. That is peril to the life, ladies and gentlemen. They didn't bat an eyelid when they had to lay down their lives. They just laid it down because that is what they had to do to protect the nation, the countrymen, and the frontiers. So that brings me to the second core value of the Indian Army, and that is the model of secularism which we practice. The model of secularism we practice, gentlemen, is something which is very private. The religion of a soldier and the belief in the God he believes in is a very private issue. We don't make a public spectacle of it. We don't mock at somebody else's belief. I believe in my God and allow the other person to believe in his God or her God. And in the army, we don't have mandir, masjid, gurdwara, or churches. We have only one place of prayer, which is called the Sarva Dharma Sthal, where we pray each and every God. The Gita sits beside the Guru Granth Sahib, which sits beside the Quran, which sits behind the Holy Bible. A Muslim officer who is, entrusted with the command of a troops which is majorly Hindu, unit of troops which is majorly Hindu, puts a tilak on his forehead and performs havan on a day when puja has to happen. He holds the thali in his hands and prays in the arti as and when he has to pray in a mandir parade. Similarly, a Hindu officer who's entrusted the command of a Muslim troops in major, he undergoes the Ramadan month very religiously. He fasts along with his Jawans, he breaks the fast along with his Jawans, and he prays 5 times a day. That is the model of secularism we actually practice in the Indian Army. Do we actually know, how many people have gone through this mill and never ever complained about their religious faith being, violated? The count is innumerous in those 1.3 million soldiers we have. And that is the training we have. On the lighter vein, we say when we cut our veins, the blood which flows is not red or crimson. That color of the blood is olive green, the color of our uniform. And that is how our DNA is changed in our academies and in our training centers. That brings me to the third core value, which I wanted to speak to everyone about. That is the unity and diversity. The caste, creed, religion, dialect, sect doesn't matter. I will take 3 names here. The 3 names with whom I had the honor of training in the academy, and those 3 names which had the honor of laying down their lives in Operation Vijay in Kargil. Those 3 names are Jerry Premraj, a Christian, a devout Christian from Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala, Satnam Singh, a Sardar from Punjab, and Keishing Clifford Nongrum from the northeastern state of Meghalaya. And Keishing Clifford Nongrum is a Mahavir Chakra, while the other 2 have been bestowed with the Sena Medal for their heroics and laying down their lives in the defense of the other country. For them, the religion didn't matter, their region didn't matter. What mattered was their honor to lead the troops. What mattered was their honor code that, they will be the part of a model army, an army which is loved, revered, and respected by the whole country, and who are professional, lethal, and moral at the same time. Why do I say moral? Because I'll take you back to the Operation Vijay in Kargil, where we had so many Pakistani soldiers who were martyred. They also deserve the same respect that we do, because they were doing their job. And their army, for their political reasons, were refusing to accept their bodies. What did we do? We called a Maulvi who came walking 8 hours to that place, and he bestowed all the Muslim honors to those bodies. And we buried those soldiers as per the Muslim rites with the shouts of Allahu Akbar, being chanted by Hindu soldiers. And that is the morals we follow, ladies and gentlemen. We fight hard, we are ruthless, but when we have to bestow honor upon people, upon the enemy soldiers, we don't take a step back. We don't bat an eyelid. That is where the soldier believes that his job is primary in terms of setting an example as a model citizen and setting an example as a model soldier. So to this group of soldier citizens, I urge you all to touch the human lives which you are touching, the young lives you are touching, the vulnerable lives. Why I call them vulnerable is because if they find the right guide, they go into the right direction. If they find the wrong guide, they tend to find the wrong path, after which correcting them will be very, very difficult. I urge you all to ensure that these ethos, the military ethos and the military core values are bestowed upon them. They are educated about that. And then if somebody decides to come into the army and serve into the defense forces and serve, well and truly good, they'll become leaders. They are, if to say in Hindi, जिनकी रगों में उफान है, जिनकी रगों में उबलाव है, जिनकी रगों में जोश है, वो आ सकते हैं. They can become leaders in the Indian Army. And believe me, they will command men who will respect them, who will love them more than their own families. So they can come. Otherwise, if the opportunity doesn't come through to serve the Indian Army, they can be model citizens and do what they can do best in their civil stream of life to ensure that the soldier, while defending the foes and frontiers, doesn't have to turn back and see that the enemy is within. The more the soldier knows that the enemy is from outside and across the frontiers, the harder he will fight. Today's country is not as safe as one can envisage. We have enemies within and we have enemies outside. We have to work and ensure that we, proselytize. We ensure that one enemy within crosses over to being a good citizen, and then we have won our battle with the enemy inside. Believe me, the enemy outside will be 2 kilometers away from our frontiers, so long as our brave soldiers are guarding those frontiers there. How thoughtless a soldier is when he has to lay down. I will take you down to that place called Shraddhanjali Sthal in Palam Airport, where all the bodies, all the martyrs' bodies are brought down to after they are martyred in their jobs in various places. Shraddhanjali Sthal is where their body is laid. Military honors are offered, and then they are dispatched to their home stations for their families to bestow them the final rites in full military honors. The keeper there once told an army officer, "साहब, एक बॉडी पे जो फूल छड़ते हैं वो मुरझाते नहीं है कि दूसरा बॉडी आ जाता है यहाँ पे. पता नहीं ये सिपाही किस मिट्टी के बने हैं. इनको 2 मिनट भी लगता नहीं है सोचने में कि ये इनका जान देने में इनको सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है. देश के लिए ये जान दे देते हैं." दैट इज वेयर ऐसे देश सर्वोपरि सबसे, अपने से, अपने घर से, अपने फैमिली से और सबसे, देश सर्वोपरि, आज भी, कल भी और कभी भी. जय हिंद.
Jai Hind, and thank you, Lieutenant Colonel. That was really a touching and inspiring story of how our majors and jawans put their lives forward for the sake of our civilian safety. And truly also the spirit of universal brotherhood, the celebration of rights together, very inspiring stories from the army. Thank you, Parameshwarjee again. With that, I will now go on to the next segment of the day, which is a few inspiring talks from our own fellow Utsahins. Let me call upon Sri Raghuji, who is also one of our founders, to give a concept note on patriotism and nationalism. Over to you, Raghuji.
Namaste, everybody. It was truly touching. Moment shared by Lieutenant Colonel Parameshwarjee, and it was truly inspiring how we can give back to the society, give back to the nation by Sri Sudarshan Acharya. Thank you so much for almost 50% of what I had prepared to share with everyone is already shared, except one thing which I would like to add to the flavor of what you people have already shared. Feeling patriotic are things that make a stronger nation, isn't it? The moment, the example given by Sudarshan Acharya sir, about Japan, I still remember Jackie Chan, whatever he earns is dedicated. I mean, he spends everything in his own, hometown, not somewhere else. That's one thing in which I really got inspired. Patriotism is a great and selfless passion of love for one's country. Yes, dedication, contributing towards the nation, everything is fine, but it should be selfless passion, like our guide force of Lead India. To an Indian patriot, his mother and motherland are superior even to the heaven. And that is truly reflected through Lieutenant Colonel Parameshwarjee. You can't love our country. You can't love any country for that matter without loving your own fellow citizens. And truly said, Utsahin is all about that. And people who were associated with us are also becoming truly lovable with us. And let us see few things where we can really respect the nation. So I put everything in a nutshell what our speakers have told, and to some extent. Be an active citizen, contribute, always demonstrate your love for the country, love for the country, always come forward to take up the challenge, take up the risky situations, and start loving each and every task what you are doing, be it teaching, be it any profession for that matter. And focus on the current events, what makes it different from previous things and today. Today, I feel, a lot of people have started thinking about, how we can build up the nation. And with this pandemic is bringing a little bit of, not completely, little bit of closeness with respect to the relationship, as I feel it. Otherwise, unfortunately, till 2-3 years back also, only 2 occasions we had shown our patriotism. One during the Republic Day celebrations, and second one during the Independence Day, and that too in the schools. Not everybody, every other place, but we have to start working on this. Let us focus on every opportunity, every event what we can make towards contributing towards the nation. So let us all encourage people to read stories, tell tales, and about the patriotic legends in our country. To quote a few from our, Lieutenant Colonel Parameshwarjee, he has got a lot of hundreds of stories that happen in front of him, and some instances which becomes a story for us, right? Let us have a hero warrior, and let us set as a role model for them. And let us try to respect our national flag and celebrate every moment with a lot of bliss in mind, right? I'm sure all these, when we perform all these things, it shows the love towards our country and love towards our fellow citizens. Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity, Anirban. Over to you.
Thank you, Raghuji, for your loving message, and at the same time, recalling the words spoken by our speakers earlier. Next, let's call upon Sai Charan, a young budding Utsahin who's also a public speaker, management graduate. Charan, over to you for your ideas. You're not audible.
Unmute.
Unmute, please.
Once again, namaste to all the Utsahins and dear guests. So one of the great personalities said, a thoughtful mind, when it sees a national flag, sees not the flag, but nation itself. I was personally brought up learning stories of our great leaders like Bhagat Singh, Jhansi Lakshmibai, Mahatma Gandhi, Chhatrapati Shivaji, who lived their lives only for the people and the nation. You people might have seen this dialogue, the inspiring dialogue from the trailer of Rajamouli's movie, Triple R, where Ajay Devgan as a freedom fighter says to his wife, Sarojini, Meri Jang hi wajud hai, meri wajud hai. It reminds me the great leaders and soldiers who sacrificed their lives, keeping their personal likes, dislikes, kids, family, enjoyment aside, to give all of us a better future. And now the question is, are we doing at least 0.1% of what they did? Are we really doing any justice to why they led their lives so that we could live a peaceful life? Rather, we are debating on the topic, why should we stand up for the national anthem? Let me tell you, as the speakers Acharya ji, Parameshwarjee, Raghuram sir today rightly pointed out, it's not required to go and fight and sacrifice our lives. I strongly believe it's enough if you're setting an example for our future generation by carrying the right character, by helping the needy, by learning the great history of our country. by respecting our national flag, by educating the people that whatever we do, we should not lose the feel of Indianness, rather not lose the attitude of being Indian. By giving our 100% in whatever we do and doing the things which never ever defames our nation. And finally, let's not ask what our country can do for us, rather ask what we can do for the country. We are born in a great nation. The whole world is following us and its contributions. It's time we follow them and make India great again. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram. Over to Sudha ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Charan. That was really a very short but very impactful message. If each of us do a little bit towards our country, we need not fight wars only in the line of control. We can fight those little battles to remain a good citizen, to remain law-abiding, to remain honest, and to support the government and our nation in our nation-building initiatives. Beautiful message. Once again, thank you. Now, as we come to the closure of our segment, there's a special time that we would like to facilitate and thank some of our special guests. Thank you, Gokulanji, for making your time to join us. Gokulanji is a major educator and a nationalist himself. Unfortunately, though, we are not able to have him speak to us because he's on the travel. Nevertheless, we really appreciate it. I would also like to invite if any Utsahins would be able to talk to us today. If there is any Utsahin who wants to add to the views on patriotism, do let us know and I'll give you a chance to speak. Nagaraju Garu or Karunakar Garu, if either of you would want to speak, do send me a text note. Thank you. All right. So since I don't receive any confirmation from the others, let's proceed. At this point in time, I would now invite upon Ramji to give us a closure note and a special message.
So, facts are many, but truth is one. And we know all this. So I was just, enjoying the whole talk. First of all, Pranam Acharya and salute Parameshwarjee sir for inspiring. So being in the field of education, we educators, of course, we call ourselves as learners, though we call educating minds. So today we are celebrating the Parakram Divas, reminding our responsibilities. And when it comes to nationalism and nation first, so many thoughts from the last 1 hour. So just I would like to share what I took it and what I feel is, as I said, facts are many, but truth is one. Fortunately, the word nationalism, not just nationalism, there are so many words, even secular, are misinterpreted, misunderstood. So I'm not going into that. So let us not get confused with the nationalism as an exclusiveness. Our Indian spirit is always in the inclusiveness. As I mentioned, truth is one. Our Bharat, the Indian, it has got all 1.13 lakh people, 1.3 billion people are protected day and night with the borders, with the sacrifices. But there is one word which was coming in Hindi, Desham, Deham. We are all should continue to have that belongingness, our spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and that can happen only when you shine like a light to the world, and that can happen. So we are all fortunate. We are not comparing with anyone. Our spirit of nationalism was never on just political power or administrative sense. In spite of having so many individual administrative rulers and kings, all our Westerns, all our foreigners used to think as our nation as one because of the both speakers mentioned, with the spirit and the cultural values we carried for thousands of years. So let us go back, understand our real history, Not that we have to live the same, to take up from the small things like our Utsahin speakers and the main speakers told, that how can I contribute? How can I unlock my potential and give back, because I'm completely enjoying the nation's whatever the virtues and whatever the great heritage. So to be better than yesterday is the idea of remembering, saluting, and reconnecting all these areas. So once again, my gratitude to all the esteemed speakers for today, and also the participants. There are so many eminent personalities here whom I know personally, and my heartfelt congratulations to all our own Utsahins. So that's all I wanted to say. Once again, we are all inclusive, we are not exclusive. To have that inclusiveness, let us not go in a superficial way that world is one family. No, when you can showcase as an example, as everyone said, let us set an example and make our Bharat proud. It is the time that we awaken, because now India is surging towards that direction with no doubt. So only thing, let us reflect ourselves that what is happening through me, because I'm very fortunate to born in such great nation that is Bharat. Thank you all. So namaste, Sangachittu. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Indeed, thank you, Ramji, for again reiterating the message that every one of us, it's not just enough if we stay understanding and tolerant, but we look upon our past culture and our tradition, and at the same time, improve upon it to suit the current context. Well spoken, Ramji. And I think as we go to a close, before I pass on to Yash for the closing note and the vote of thanks, I would like to add here a personal message. Every one of us, we need to know and understand that it is important for us to give our little bit, right from the smallest of things in our day-to-day life, whether it is switching off a fan or light and saving the nation some electricity, whether it is ensuring that a public tap that is not the botheration, but the municipal corporation attitude changes to it is my botheration because it's my nation's resources, to every class that every one of us as teachers, educators, corporates take. We do it with the spirit of building nation and nationalist values in our students, because that way we will snowball and proliferate it to several hundreds of thousands. Let this session not end here. Let this nationalism not just be a session of speakers speaking and inspiring, but let this inspiration carry on and snowball. Let every one of us display it both in our actions as personalized examples, as Ramji from his heart mentioned, and also ensure that we build a strong Bharat. It's not just about universal tolerance, universal acceptance. It's also about building strength within your own self, within your character, within your own values and your own ancient traditions. Let's read them and build that strong nation so that others look up to us. With that, I would like to quickly share some of those t-shirts and messages that the Lead India 2020 message that Sri Acharya ji spoke about. There are quite a lot of t-shirts and accessories that are available, which this foundation gives. Let us all participate and heartily welcome its initiatives, along with the initiatives that are nation building. I will now call upon Yash for giving the closing comments or the session summary along with the vote of thanks. Yash, over to you. Needs to be given. Yes, spotlight. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm here to give a closing summary of what happened in today's event. Today's event wonderfully started with our energetic Sai Charan welcoming everybody, and our Anirbanji rightly setting the context, the large universal brotherhood as propounded by Swami Vivekananda. Each nation has a destiny to fulfill, a message to deliver, and a mission to accomplish. And we should aim striking balance between sustainable and being patriotic. With this context set, the event was further springboarded by our Acharya ji, Dr. Nb Sudarshan Acharya ji, expressing happiness over the commonality of ideologies with Utsahin platform, the goals of man-making and nation-building. Acharya has shared the seed of inspiration at the age of 13, 1 in 100, who can transform India, Aap Badho, Desh Ko Badhao. The second national movement proponent by APJ Abdul Kalam. He made us understand the crisis that Bharat is facing, drawing parallel between the Japan rebounding after World War II. Indian education has been manipulated by Sir Macaulay to create a set of clerks. True education must build people of character. When people fight in the line of control, we should become a people of character, POC. The National Education Policy 2020 is a very welcome step by beloved Narendra Modi ji leadership. Ancient Indian education has to be revisited and correlated with the current education. Our ancient culture is universally tolerant, and that we must propagate and spread it. And it is most relevant now as there is a substantial youth power. He ended that we should make India once again Vishwaguru Bharat by making the man-making and nation-building. Our second speaker, KVN Parameshwarjee, has brought in the sites at the border. Jai Hind is not a phrase, but way of life. Soldier citizens are protecting the independence and the brotherhood, and they carry even their prayer place at one place. Their oath is to obey the president or the higher official in service of the country, even at their own peril to their life. And they respect one God. It was followed by our inspiration talks by our Utsahins, Raghuram sir, Utsahin Charan, and finally it was summarized by our own Ram Reddy sir, who has mentioned the Vasudeva Kutumbakam. World is one family, but then we should also awaken ourselves and work towards our own country as well. Now I would like to propose my formal vote of thanks to all the guest speakers for taking time and joining this event and gracing this occasion with your presence. And I'd like to also thank the Utsahins who have shared their opinion or their views on nationalism. And also I'd like to thank the Utsahin Council, all people who have supported us, who have supported this platform, and all the volunteers who are working behind this to make this a grand success. I would like to end my vote of thanks and would hand it over to Nipanji to take it forward. Sudhaji to take it forward. Yes.
Thank you. Sudhaji, may you please render the closing prayer.
May we march forward with a common goal. May we be open-minded and work together in harmony. May our prayers be one. May we belong to one brotherhood. May our aspirations be harmonious. May our minds be in unison. May we strive to reduce disparity. May we be bound in strong fellowship and unity. Sangachatvam. Over to Master of Ceremony, Anirban sir.
Sangachatvam. May I request all of us to please stand up for the National Anthem as we close.
Jana Mana Adhinayak Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravida Utkala Vanga Vindhya Himachal Yamuna Ganga Uchala Jaladhi Taranga तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे